All right, everyone, welcome. You know that feeling, right? Just before an exam, your heart starts pounding, your mouth goes dry. Well, that is the fight or flight response in action. In this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what's happening inside your body piece by piece. We'll look at the nervous system, the endocrine system, basically everything you need to know to absolutely smash this topic in your AQA exam.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with the two big players, the nervous system and the endocrine system. Then we'll see how they team up to create that classic fight or flight response. After that, we'll get into what happens when that system goes into overdrive, so chronic stress. And to wrap it all up, we'll look at an actual exam question and walk through how to apply all this knowledge to grab those top marks.
All right, first up, let's dive into the nervous system. We're going to focus on the part that's kind of like the body's autopilot, the bit that keeps everything inside running smoothly without you ever having to consciously think about it. So, what are we talking about here? It's the autonomic nervous system, or the ANS for short. Think of it as your body's command center for all the stuff you don't consciously control. I mean, you're not sitting there thinking, okay, heart, beat now, lungs, breathe now, right? The ANS handles all of that. And its main job? To keep everything in balance, a state we call homeostasis. Okay, so the ANS has these two sort of opposing branches. You've got the sympathetic branch, that's your gas pedal. It ramps everything up, gets you ready for action. And then you have the parasympathetic branch, that's the brake. It slows things down, helps you chill out and rest and digest. For your exam, a really easy way to remember this is sympathetic for stress and parasympathetic for peace. They're constantly working against each other to keep you balanced. Okay, so we've looked at the body's super fast electrical wiring, the nervous system. Now, let's switch gears and talk about its other major control system, the endocrine system. If the nervous system is like sending an instant message, the endocrine system is more like sending a letter through the mail. It uses chemical messengers, called hormones, that travel through the bloodstream. It's definitely slower, but its effects can be way more widespread and last a lot longer. And this system is, well, it's huge. It controls pretty much everything, from your growth to your mood and, crucially for us today, your stress response. It's all about a network of glands, and these glands produce and release hormones right into your blood. These hormones then travel around your body and tell specific cells or organs what to do. Now, this diagram is really important. Right there at the base of the brain, you can see the hypothalamus. This little guy is the real starting point for the whole hormonal response we're about to dig into. You can think of it as the bridge connecting the fast-acting nervous system with the slower endocrine system. It's a really critical link. So yeah, the hypothalamus, it's the boss. It's the control center for the whole endocrine show. It's always monitoring what's going on in your body, and it gives the orders to the gland sitting right underneath it. And that gland, well, that's our next major player. And here it is, the pituitary gland. You'll hear this called the master gland all the time, and for good reason. It's like the conductor of an orchestra. It releases its own hormones, sure, but those hormones are basically instructions, telling all the other glands in the body when to play their part. It directs the whole hormonal symphony. Okay, take a look at this table. It gives you a great snapshot of just some of the glands the pituitary is in charge of. Now for us, I want you to zoom in on the adrenal glands. See how there are two parts? The adrenal medulla and the adrenal cortex. The hormones they release, adrenaline, noradrenaline, and corticosteroids, are absolutely central to the fight or flight response. And that's exactly where we're going next. All right, this is where it all comes together. We've seen the fast network and the slow postal service. Now, let's see how they join forces in this perfectly choreographed dance to produce the incredibly powerful fight or flight response. Okay, this definition is an absolute must-know for your exam. The fight or flight response. It's basically an ancient survival program hardwired into us. When your brain senses danger, any kind of danger, it flips a switch and kicks off a whole chain reaction of physical changes. The goal? To get your body ready to either stand and fight or run like hell. And it does this using two main pathways you've got to remember, the SAM pathway and the HPA axis. Right. This diagram? This is the whole topic on one page. Seriously, you need to be able to draw this from memory for your exam. It shows exactly what happens when the hypothalamus decides, uh-oh, this is a threat. It kicks off two responses that run at the same time. Let's follow the first one, the super fast one. Okay, pathway number one is the SAM pathway. That stands for sympathetic adrenomedullary pathway. Just think SAM is fast. This is the body's red alert, the emergency alarm. So the hypothalamus hits the big red button, which activates the sympathetic nervous system. A nerve signal zaps straight down to the adrenal medulla, telling it to pump out adrenaline and noradrenaline. And boom, that's what gives you that instant jolt, the pounding heart, the sudden energy.
At the exact same time, the second pathway is firing up. This is the HPA axis, hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. This is the slow burn, long-term response. It's the hormonal backup system. So the hypothalamus releases a hormone called CRF that travels to the pituitary, which then releases another hormone, ACTH. ACTH then takes a trip through the bloodstream all the way to the adrenal cortex and tells it to release hormones like cortisol. The whole point of this slower chain reaction is to give you a longer, more steady supply of energy for a threat that might stick around for a while.
So you've got adrenaline and cortisol flooding your system. What does that actually do? What does it feel like? Let's break down the physical changes that get your body primed for action. And every single one of these changes makes perfect sense from a survival point of view. Your heart rate goes up. Why? To pump more oxygen and blood to your big muscles so you can run or fight. Your body dumps glucose into your blood. Why? For instant energy. And things that aren't essential for surviving the next 5 minutes, like digesting your lunch, the body just shuts them down to save energy. It's a brilliantly efficient system for dealing with a short, sharp shock. But here's the kicker. That system was designed to deal with, a lion jumping out of a bush, a short, intense physical threat. So what happens when that same system gets triggered over and over and over again by modern stresses, like exams or deadlines or money worries? This quote really nails it. The problem is our bodies can't tell the difference between a real physical threat and a psychological one. An upcoming exam triggers the exact same physical response as a saber-toothed tiger. But with an exam, you don't actually fight it or run away from it. So all those stress hormones, all that extra energy, it just swirls around in your body with no release. And when that happens constantly, it really starts to cause damage. That permanently high blood pressure can wear out your arteries, leading to serious problems like atherosclerosis. And all that cortisol floating around all the time, it actually weakens your immune system, making you more likely to get sick. It's a huge paradox. The very system that evolved to save our lives can, in the long run, make us ill. Okay, let's get to the really important bit. How do you use all this information to get marks in an exam? Because knowing it is one thing, but applying it is everything. Let's take a look at a typical exam question. So here's our scenario about Martha on results day. Now, look closely at the question. The key command word is explain. It's not just asking you to describe the fight or flight response, it's asking you to use your knowledge to explain her specific symptoms. You have to connect what she's feeling, the pounding heart, the dry mouth, to the biology we've just gone through.
And this is where people lose marks. You can't just write down everything you know about fight or flight. To get all 4 marks, you have to keep linking it back to the scenario. You have to mention Martha. You have to mention her symptoms. Application is the name of the game here.
This table is basically a perfect model answer. See how it's structured? You take a symptom from the text, like her heart is pounding, then you give the precise biological reason. You explicitly say the hypothalamus activated the SAM pathway, causing the adrenal medulla to release adrenaline. Then you do the same for her dry mouth and butterflies. You connect it to the sympathetic nervous system shutting down non-essential functions. That level of specific, applied detail is exactly what gets you the top marks. So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on, something that's great for evaluation points in a longer essay. This fight or flight response is this incredible ancient survival tool. But in our modern world, full of psychological stressors, has it actually become more of a bug than a feature? Is it now more of a liability than an asset? It's a really interesting debate to think about. Okay, that's it for me. Best of luck with your revision.